Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we're going to take a walk through the top garden. Let's get going. Well, this week has been insanely hot. It has gotten above 120 for a feels like temperature, and the average air temperature this week has been 101 here in 7B. It's brutal, but because of that, we've had to water every day, and the gardens are holding up pretty good. So to continue our little Friday treks through the garden, we're going to go ahead and walk through the top garden and see what it looks like here going towards the end of August. Well, when I say hot, I mean hot. It's about 8:05 in the morning and it's already above 90. So if that gives you any inclination, the evenings have been basically in the mid 80s all week. I think earlier in the week it might have gotten down to like 78 or 77, but we don't get much of that right now. So I thought it would be fun to just kind of go through and show what's happening. As you can see here, the green beans in this bed are not holding up near as good as the green beans in the old garden, and that's just because of the sun exposure. These green beans get a lot of sun in the late afternoon, and of course that's the hottest part of the day, the most direct sun, and it has not been kind to these guys. The marigolds though, they haven't, it hasn't been too bad, and you can tell Leslie's pollinators are still going strong. She came out and deadheaded these. We took out a lot of the pollinators in different areas in preparation for our fall gardens. But of course, this bed down here stays permanent with the pollinators, so we don't have to worry about that. We also left the marigolds in here, but as you can see, it is burning them up pretty good too, getting that late afternoon sun. But because we're watering them, at least the tips are kind of staying green, which is nice. I'm going to give it a couple more weeks. Supposedly we have a cool down coming, so I'm hoping these guys can bounce back. If not, I'll just take them out and we'll just wait till the fall carrots go in. This zucchini finally succumbed to the heat, so we took it out, and you'll see as a theme here, we started putting leaves over the top of everything. I watered everything in really good, and then we covered it with leaves. It just helps keep the soil from drying out, and if the sun is hitting directly on your soil, it's going to heat it up really fast, and it's going to kill a lot of the microbes that you work so hard to have in there for the health of your plants. So we try to cover up a lot of things. I do want to show these pimento peppers. Look at these guys. Ooh, that guy down there is ready to go. Pimento peppers have been a huge hit this year. So far, everybody has really enjoyed them. I got an old recipe that Leslie found online for pimento cheese, and I've been making it. And it has gone over supremely good. My aunt and uncle, they're enjoying it. Leslie loves it. So I'm happy. Pimentos will definitely be a thing that we grow from now on. I wanted to show these as well. You see, these guys are the jumbo cayenne peppers. We grew the small ones last year and they were all over the place. As you can see, these jumbo ones are having the same thing. So what I think I'm going to do with these is I think I'm going to can a bunch of these and use them for like pizzas in the wintertime, that sort of stuff, and just see how actual hot they are. These back here we're letting, you can see they're starting to turn red. Ooh, there's a pretty one right there too. But we're hoping that we can kind of get some red, some green, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull them off and put them in a brine, and we'll see what happens over the course of the winter. But I really like that spicy vinegar as a salad dressing, so I'd like to have that for the fall whenever the lettuce and stuff starts coming off. Look at all of those. I'm telling you, they are everywhere. And then over here we started some more zucchini plants, and I was going to go ahead and pull this one, but I decided against it today. You can see I watered and it totally just flipped the whole plant right into its neighbor, so we're just going to move it over. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get anything off of these because it's so hot. There's a flower, you'll see what I mean. They're almost all male flowers at this point. Usually the female flowers will come on whenever the temperatures are a little bit better. So maybe these plants will make it till next week. I'm not real sure. I don't think anything is supposed to live in 120, but the peppers have really been thriving. The bell peppers, we're getting a whole nother round of these guys. We had a bunch of them, and the bell peppers don't seem to put flowers on until we pull the peppers off of them. So once these get just a bit bigger, I'll pull all these peppers off, and hopefully we'll have another large round before the season is over. But if you step back, you can kind of see how good those bell peppers are doing. This will probably be like a permanent spot for them going forward. I really like the production we've had. So, oh, another thing that we've started doing this week, look at this. See these pretty flowers on the basil? We have stopped on only these. Now, the basil in Leslie's herb garden and the basil that is in the old garden, we have left, or we're still trimming off the flowers. We don't want it to go to seed just yet. We're still using it with the tomatoes and all that stuff that is coming off. But you can see all these buds that are starting to flower here. The reason for that is I want to try to save some of these seeds. And I'm not worried about seeds dropping in this bed, because this bed will be permanently exactly this way. It'll be a cherry tomato bed with marigolds and basil in it for the rest of the time, I'm hoping. So while we're talking about the tomatoes, you can see they are doing exceptional. But we have started with 6 tomato plants, and all that is left is 2. The reason for that is we had put a lot of those yellow pear tomatoes, and they really do good in the old garden. On the trellis that we have in the old garden, they did really, really well, and they're still putting off a lot of tomatoes. They do not like the afternoon sun though. They literally fried up, so I had to pull them off. At first I thought it was blight. I started reaching out to some folks, and apparently they do not like to have direct sun, you know, when it's as hot as it has been. So, but as you can tell, the orange tomatoes and our sweet millions are doing fantastic. We have put cherry tomatoes in just about everything that we possibly can. Another thing that we have started doing at this point is I've started trying to freeze them. I had a fella tell me, if you freeze your cherry tomatoes just right off of the plant, just take them inside, wash them real good, and throw them in a freezer bag, that what you can do later on in the year is pull them out, pour boiling water over the top, and the skins come right off, and they're supposed to taste just like they do in the summer. And when you're getting as many cherry tomatoes as we are, you can kind of, you know, take a risk and see if that stuff works. Like I said, our Romas did so well this year that we were able to put up like 55 jars of Roma tomatoes. So I am not that concerned with trying a few new things. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, well, you know, next year we'll try something else with them. See all these blooms in here? Yeah. Now, the purple hull peas in the old garden have already started coming off, and they are delicious. Now, look at these big fat pods. I will say this, if you have a late summer bumper crop of beans, the one thing that you need to make sure of is that you do not let those beds dry out. I have a friend of mine that sent me pictures of his green beans and asked me what was wrong with them. They were just small and shriveled, and there was no actual bean or anything on the inside of it. The thing is, whenever it gets this hot, the plant is going to preserve itself first, and then it's going to move on to its progeny. So if it gets super hot and it's super dry, they are not going to form the beans the way that you want them to. So just make sure that you're watering. Our rule of thumb is if the air temperature hits triple digits, I water daily. If it's in the mid 90s, I water every other day, with the idea of I want the beds themselves to get roughly 4.5 to 5 inches of water every week. And again, that's only whenever the temperatures are as hot as they are right now. And that's only because the evaporation rates and all of that sort of thing, not only that, but the actual stress on your plants is incredible right now. Pardon me, please. You can see our turnips coming up really nice in here. Hopefully, within the next few weeks, we will have significantly more greens in the ground. I've started a lot of them inside. We are simply waiting for this oppressive heat to pass before we put them out. You know, lettuce and stuff will just fry out here in the sun. The turnips and beets, they'll handle it a bit better, but it does have a chance to sort of impede its growth long term if it has too many days. So what we're hoping is that we can just keep these alive, and going into next week, the weather starts cooperating a little bit. These are a couple new yellow squash plants that we've tried to put in, and I am really excited with the way that they have taken off, and they look pretty pathetic, if I'm being honest, right in the middle of the day, but each morning they bounce back. So again, fingers crossed that we start to get some female flowers and that sort of stuff as time goes on here. And the last bed that we have over here are these banana peppers. Now, anybody who has watched the channel for any time knows last year was the first year that we grew the banana peppers, and we fell in love with them. Our family fell in love with them. My buddy's kids eat these things raw right off the plant. I love to take these and make like a sweet brine and pickle them with some of the hot peppers so they have a little bit of heat and a little sweet. And I put them on almost everything. I made an omelet the other day with sausage and sweet peppers, and it was phenomenal. I like to put them on pizza. I like to put them on pork roast, barbecue sandwiches. It might be quicker to list the stuff I don't like them on. Well, I said last, I do want to show this. I talk all the time about lettuce going to seed. And this is what that looks like. You can see these flowers are about to open. What I'm hoping to do is allow this thing to sort of self-seed itself for the fall. I don't know if it's going to work, but it'd be really cool if it did. And getting some shade, boo. That's a smart girl. Man, it is hot out here already. Got a sweat going on. So a few things before we get going. I just want to point out, right now we are getting a lot of cherry tomatoes from the homestead, a lot of peppers, and really that's about it right now. The green beans have started coming off. It looks like in the next couple weeks we're going to have enough to start canning, so I'm really excited about that. Most of those though are coming from the old garden. These in here have a lot of blooms on them. I just don't know if we're going to get any beans out of them or not. If so, fantastic. If not, we'll have to find something else to do with it between carrots next year, but that's kind of the fun of gardening, right? Anyway, as always, I appreciate you folks hanging out with me today. Till next time, I hope everyone takes care of themselves. Peace.